Hey there. I'm gonna review an album you might not have heard before. Stay tuned to find out which one. Hey Purple World, it's Clint, and today I'm gonna try something different. I've been thinking about it for some time, but I didn't know exactly how to go about it. Messine and I started this channel for the sole purpose of keeping Prince's legacy alive while also showing fellow fans or fans how and why we love the artist. We've spoken to people in his circle to sort of open up his history, revealing the kind of person he was and things that happened behind the scenes. We've also talked about some of his unreleased or alternate versions of his official releases to a smaller extent, and also discussed bootlegs with a panel of fellow Prince fans. While there are plenty of reviews and stories of Prince's albums, you can never tell Prince's complete story without discussing his unreleased projects. Prince will always be known for the amount of music he's created. It's said that there are hundreds of unreleased songs in his legendary vault, but there are also completed albums that have not been released. His most famous one was the Black Album from 1987, but we won't discuss that album because it was eventually released officially in 1994. Today, we're going to discuss his first unreleased album, The Rebels. Who the Rebels, you ask? Well, they're basically Prince and his backing band from the Prince tour. In 1979, before Prince formed the time, he considered using his backing band as a side project called The Rebels. It was the first example of Prince sharing duties with his band. There was no set lead singer. Various members of the band sang lead as well as wrote songs. The band members were Prince on lead vocals and all instruments, Andre Simone, lead vocals and bass, Des Dickerson, lead vocals and guitar, Gail Chapman, lead vocals and keyboards, and of course Bobby Z on drums and Dr. Fink on keyboards. 9 tracks were recorded during a 12-day recording session between July 10th and July 21st, 1979 at Mountain Ears Sound Studio in Boulder, Colorado, shortly after Prince finished work on his second album, Prince. The 9 songs recorded during these sessions were as follows: Too Long, written and sung by Des Dickerson; Disco Wait, written and sung by Des Dickerson; Thrill You or Kill You, written by Andre Simone; You, written by Prince and sung by Gail Chapman; If I Love You Tonight, written by Prince and sung by Gail Chapman; The Loser, written by Prince and sung by Gail Chapman; Hard to Get, written by Prince and sung by Prince and Andre Simone. And there were 2 instrumentals also. The first instrumental was written by Des Dickerson, and the second instrumental written by Andre Simone. The album had a more guitar-driven rock feel compared to his first 2 albums at the time. It was said that this was due to Dez's influence, although For You and Prince showed examples of Prince's solo guitar rock mastery in the tracks I'm Yours and Bambi. With the Rebels project, Prince eased some tension by allowing Andre Simone and Des Dickerson to write and record their own songs. Even Des Dickerson once said he believed the Rebels album was never more than an incentive for the band rather than a real album idea. But according to Prince's cousin, Chaz Smith, Prince went as far as envisioning the cover of the album, which was going to be the silhouettes of the faces of the group. Just the shape of their heads and no faces, so no one could see who it was. This was also confirmed by Des. Matt Fink said Warner Brothers did not want to release the Rebels album, fearing that a release under another name would confuse people. Ultimately, the project was shelved, feeling that the whole thing sounded too generic. None of the songs were released in their original form, but You was later re-recorded and released as You by Paula Abdul on her Spellbound album. If I Love You Tonight was later re-recorded and released as If I Love You Tonight by Mika Paris on her album Contribution, and later re-recorded by Maite as If I Love You Tonight on her Child of the Sun album. Hard to Get was re-recorded by Prince alone in 1981, but the song remains unreleased. There was one other song recorded during these sessions that Prince was very excited about. So excited, in fact, that he planned to release it as a single for his own next album, but Warner Brothers shot it down. The name of the song was Let's Rock. Prince would later re-record the song with a new name and release it on his Controversy album as Let's Work. No releases or tours were contributed to the Rebels, although they did tour nameless as Prince's backing band, with Gail leaving the band after the Prince tour ended. Andre Simone left the band after the Dirty Mind tour, and Dez left the band after the 1999 tour. The remaining members evolved into the Revolution. Now, not only is this project Prince's first unreleased album, but it's also Prince's first example of secretly being part of a band, a la Madhouse, and his first example of releasing a different genre of music through a sideband, a la The Time. It shows how many different ideas Prince had early on, and how he would eventually deal with those ideas. The Rebels, although unreleased, is the OG Time, Vanity 6, The Family, Madhouse, etc., etc. Maybe the estate will release an unreleased album as opposed to a compilation of unreleased tracks. Not that I don't appreciate those compilations, mind you, but it would be great to release a complete thought. What unreleased album would you like to see released? What unreleased project would you like me to review? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell so you can be alerted to any new videos that get uploaded. Anyway, I'm Clint. Peace and be wild.